What's up? This is Robert from Existence First. And the last few weeks I've been doing these sort of like warm-up podcasts for at 2 o'clock. This was the continuation of the spiritual self-defense class that I teach every Saturday. Starting next week, I think I'm going to start a whole new format, and not quite sure what it's going to look like yet, but it's going to be a continuation of this high-level mental technique stuff, which to me is what I would hashtag as real psychology, real techniques to help us navigate through this world that is not designed to make us happy. Okay. So, that being said, the topic for this week, and this is going to be maybe a 10-minute lecture, 15 minutes, not too long. Today's topic is going to be the one event that throws everyone off. And by event, I mean like something that can happen in your daily life that can throw you off, right? There's something I noticed this week because I caught myself reacting to it, but I caught myself very, very early on, so I was able to reverse it, or nullify it. So let's back up a little bit, though, and just give some context, okay? Or some analogies, some metaphors. So if we're talking about sports, lately in my Facebook scrolling, once all of mental discipline goes away, after all, it is a limited resource. I'm scrolling through Facebook, and these clips from sports games are showing up, like soccer matches or hockey games, and usually it's a clip that ends up in a goal being scored, right? So it's a very riveting clip, and I love these clips. It's just so fun, but it's funny how because we haven't had professional sports due to COVID. I think I, for one, have forgotten kind of the thrill of that, watching the two sides battle each other, go back and forth, back and forth. Definitely evident in soccer and hockey. I guess also in basketball, though, basketball and tennis, but especially in the team sports where it's, you got one team advancing down the court or the field, and then one of them gets stopped and the ball is stolen by the other team, and the other team starts advancing, and it's almost like this it's almost like a war or a battle, but it's for fun. And so you watch these two sides advancing like towards each other, back and forth, and it's fascinating, right? Now, what is it like to be on ground level, though, competing? And I've done that since I play hockey regularly. So I've been on both sides. I've been on the side where you're just totally dominating, and I've been on the side where you're totally getting your butt whooped. And when I was in college playing hockey, we were this very small school that entered the Midwest Collegiate Roller Hockey League, so we were going up against hockey teams from Michigan State and University of Ohio, and we would get our butts whooped because we were like a tiny school of like 3,000 students, right? So our pool of talent was small, but so I know what it's like on each side. When you're dominating, it's just like the adrenaline and the testosterone just keep snowballing, right? And so then you become even more confident and even more unstoppable, and then you get to the puck, or you get to the ball faster than the other team because you're like, oh, I got this. And then the other team starts underperforming what their actual potential is because they're getting beat, and then they're being discouraged, and then they're like, oh, they're just going to score on us again like they did the first time. Those are the thoughts that go through the mind subconsciously or consciously sometimes. But that then in turn has an effect on how they play. And so it kind of snowballs. It's this psychological snowballing effect, which leads to one team becoming victorious over the other when everything else appears to be even, equal talent level of the skills, of the two teams and whatnot. I think it really comes down to psychology to determine the winner. Now, so there's this rhythm, okay? That being said, if you guys have played the card game Uno before, then you know what. I believe it's that game where there's this card that allows or causes the game to start going in the reverse direction, and so when that card is thrown down, there a certain rhythm is disrupted, and the rhythm is reversed, and it goes the other way. Okay, so why am I saying all these things? Well, this is these are all metaphors, symbols. I don't know, not really metaphors though, because I mean those are, playing Uno and playing a game of hockey are both. You have human beings playing both of them, and so maybe there's nothing metaphorical about it. Maybe these are just examples of the same phenomenon. The same. These are still manifestations of human nature, and so. In any case, what is to answer the question of the title of this post? What is the one event that throws everybody off? It's being told something where you have no control over, right? Or being like having your liberties taken away and having no say in the matter. Something happening that really you have zero influence over. So that could be something like the rain. In when I used to live in Chicago, and where the weather is very unpredictable. Rainy, cloudy days would put everybody in a funk, and it was crazy. Just how just like that Uno card, that when it gets thrown down, boom, the rhythm gets reversed in the opposite direction. It's so similar. The rain, the thunder starts or whatever. It's dark out, gloomy, dark, dreary day, and then boom, everyone's psychic energy starts spinning in this opposite direction. Of oh, I just don't have the energy today. Yeah, I was gonna clean the house, but I'm just gonna watch a movie, this and that. And look at how we're just like a rag doll. Our minds are being thrown this way and that by our environments. And this is no way to live. This is why I do these lectures. So, so that's one example, the weather, right? But even other things, what would be an example? Like layoffs, or where you have zero control over it, or where you are told, like this shelter-in-place thing, which devastated people psychologically, because the government came in and said you are not allowed to leave your house, like. What is that? Just totally, and the whole rationale for it was completely pushed to the back of the room, which is the most important part. The most important part is the rationale that we're trying to slow the spread of this virus so that we don't overwhelm hospital capacities. That's the whole reason. That needs to be up in the forefront, not in the back. What was in the front was, oh, you guys are not allowed to do this. You do not leave your home for any purpose that is not essential. Blah blah blah. Right. So, in any case, when something happens like that, something from the external coming in and commanding you, like, you're not, and you don't really have choice. You can't just talk. You can't just like say no, I'm not going to follow this, right? Or you just can't make a county unsign their legal document, right? The shelter order. In these situations, that's where we have to be on guard, because of the way that the mind works and the way that it's affected by those things. It triggers all of this conditioning, and it triggers roles. And it's exactly how I was talking about in those first few sports analogies at the beginning, where when you're playing a sports game, right, the first team to score statistically has a higher likelihood of winning the game. And there's a lot of reasons for that. But there is definitely a piece, I can say this firsthand, psychologically speaking, playing hockey, if that other team scores, you got to look at your team and the individuals on that team, and because some of them are going to be broken at that point mentally. They're going to think, oh man, like we got scored on, like, and they're actually going to start playing the role of the loser, right? even though they might be skilled players, they might be good players, they might be capable, their skills might make them capable, very well capable, of beating another team, they will still lose that game because of what goes on in their mind. And that is the point I'm trying to make, is that we need to, the whole psychology, is misunderstood. What we need to watch is some event happens out there, boom, then something invisible happens, and it's in here. And it's just like when you're playing Uno and that reverse card goes down, and all of a sudden the rhythm and then the pace reverses, right? That happens in the mind. We are either on a winning spiral or we're on a losing spiral. And that the direction of that spiral is very heavily influenced by the environment. However, it depends on who you are. The stronger you are as an individual and as a human being, the stronger you are psychologically, the more resistant you are to that change in direction, right? I see that all the time. The best athletes are the ones that, when they get scored on, it doesn't change how they operate. They still get the job done. They still play to their highest potential, and that's because they have their mental game in order. At the most extreme of examples, you would have Navy SEALs, which I've been talking about in the past several weeks in these lectures. Navy SEALs, and there's a lot of good examples from Iraq. A lot of the Navy SEALs who toured in Iraq, they wrote about these stories, and there's a Navy SEAL named Mark Lee, and another one that his nickname was Biggles, right? And both of them were shot. I forgot if both died. I think one of them for sure died. But imagine you are fighting in Iraq as a Navy SEAL. One of your fellow SEALs gets shot, and now you have to continue performing at the peak level of performance while one of your own kind just got shot and is either dead or on the way to becoming dead. So that's the most extreme example, right? But you see the point is what the structure, and here's what I'm talking about. This is the structure of psychology. This is real psychology. The structure of our thought and the structure of the way that things work in this world is, boom, some event happens, and our mental momentum, the swirling of thoughts in our mind either starts going stronger in one direction, like when we win, and then we get even more confident, start to get arrogant, whatever, or something negative happens and that swirl starts to go slow down, or it starts to go in the opposite direction, and that's a depression cycle. Then when you start going in that losing direction, and then just days are not going well for you, and then another negative event happens, and then it just starts going even faster in that bad direction, right? These are the swirls. This is the invisible stuff, the movement of energy of the mind, and this is what interests me, right? Because psychology really belongs under physics, I believe. Physics will study the flow of water and its momentum and inertia and torque and all of these forces, and they will quantify it. Physics quantifies the movement of these forces, right? That's what's missing from psychology. It's not psychology. Real psychology can be measured mathematically. I'm sure of it. We just don't have it. We just haven't studied it enough yet. So the best that we do is we have these, silly Freudian theories and stuff like that, and marriage, family, therapy, system theories, whatever. Like, all right, how about we actually just understand the mind in a way we can predict things, right? That's what you use numbers and math for, is predicting. Okay, none of this after the fact, analyzing. But I'm trying to keep these under 15 minutes, so that's enough for today. Think deeply and put your existence first.